Namaste. I am Professor Dr. Pramod K. Raghav, Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science, Jayoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. In this lecture, I'm going to tell you the classification of food waste, or you can say classification of waste from food industries. In my previous lecture, I told you in detail what type of waste we're going to get, from what type of industries. But this is something particularly, I will tell you the name of the industry and what we are getting in waste from that processing industry. All right. So if I start, let me tell you that the waste from the food industries can be categorized by the type of industries. And these industries are like meat industry, milk processing industry. I'm going to use the word processing because if I say meat industry, what does it mean? It means a lot of stuff. So we're going to say, I'm going to say meat processing industry, milk processing industry, fruits and vegetables processing industry, oil processing, and tea processing, or in a nutshell, tea industry. So these are the industries. We're going to study about these today and what type of waste we actually are getting. And remember, I don't going to tell you today in today's lecture the management of the waste we are getting from these industries. That's going to come in the next lectures. I'm going to focus only today the type of waste, the waste which we are getting from these industries. So let's begin. And first industry is the meat industry. So the waste, occurs in the meat industry mainly during the slaughtering. Slaughtering is a unit operation actually. It's where the meat is processed and all. So slaughterhouse waste consists of the portion of a slaughtered animal that cannot be sold as a meat or used in the meat product. That's going to be a major chunk of the waste. Other waste are blood, hair, skin, bones, okay? And has the, all this waste, it is having a potential of producing, of generating large quantities of solid waste and wastewater. And wastewater which has a, good, or say rather than, is a high biological oxygen demand. So we have to deal with that. Another is the offensive odors, foul smells which we see, offensive odors, the odors which you cannot tolerate, that is also comes into pollution. That also comes into the waste. We have to think about that. Plus, the next is the wastewater from a slaughterhouse. And let me tell you, if you see the wastewater which is coming out from a slaughterhouse, it can contain blood, it can contain manure, it can contain hair, fat and feathers and bones. So that wastewater is to be handled very cautiously. And sometimes it may be at very high temperature and may contain organic material in it, as well as nitrogen in it, as well as some pathogens. And pathogens of what type? Such as Salmonella, Shigella, that type of pathogens. I told you in my one lecture that incineration, we do the incineration of the hazardous waste. So students, if our waste treatment plant stops working, or we are running out of time, or something else is happening, we may need to, we may have to go for incineration, because the waste which is having pathogens gonna be really alarming for the surrounding environment. And next, if I talk about the smoking operations, there are certain smoking operations in the meat industry, and those can release toxic organics into the air. And so it is very important before you let them go into the environment, you do something, some type of treatment, or make some cleaning arrangement for that. So that is the waste which we can, or we get from the meat industry. Next is coming the milk industry. Very interesting, milk processing industry. And let me tell you, since milk industry or milk processing industry we're going to discuss, in our campus, in the campus of Jayoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur, we have pilot plants, milk processing pilot plant for producing this pasteurized milk. We have ice cream processing plant for making the ice creams. So we have these pilot plants in our university itself, and I'm sure that you might have seen those plants. So tell me, I don't think there is hardly any type of solid waste is coming out of milk industry. It is most of the time wastewater. All right. So there is hardly any solid waste from the dairy industry, or we can say the milk processing industry. And mainly, the solid is the sludge, which we will get after the treatment of the wastewater. But I'm not going into the direction. So the main waste from the milk processing industry is the wastewater. And wastewater with a lot of, capacity of producing the sludge when it is treated. From where the wastewater will come? And for that, you should know the milk processing flow chart. So recall your processing flow chart of the milk, pasteurized milk, or ice cream, or cheese, or butter, so on. So when you receive the milk, the wastewater is generated. Wastewater results from the tank, from the truck, storage tank, washing, pipeline washing, and sanitizing. You do the sanitization of these cans, tankers, and all that. So load of wastewater comes out, and it is having solids in it, detergents in it, and sanitizers and waste milk in that. Then some whole milk products. Wastewater is also produced during the cleaning operations, because it is very necessary to provide the sanitation, to provide the cleaning and then sanitation of the working areas in the milk processing plant. So that generates whole lot amount of wastewater. And during the cheese, whey, curd, waste results mainly from production of whey, production of cheese, production of curd, production of your lassi and all other products, during the production of butter and ghee. All right, butter washing steps, because we have to wash the butter in the butter making. So butter washing steps produce wastewater containing buttermilk. So all the waste which is coming out from a milk processing industry is mainly 95 to 99% is wastewater. Yes. And there is some air pollution is also coming out because from the dairy industry, from the milk processing industry. In dairy plants, air pollution is mainly caused because of the need of the energy. In the process, the gases may be discharged such as CO2, CO, NO, and SO2. So that we have to take care of. So these are the waste which comes out as a wastewater from a milk processing industry. And next, my favorite, and the industry which is capturing a whole lot of percentage if we talk about the food processing industries, and that is fruits and vegetable industry. Fruit and vegetable industry produce a lot of waste, and mainly of two type waste, as I told: solid waste and liquid waste, biodegradable and non-biodegradable. That is something broad category. But since I'm talking to fruit and vegetable processing industry, so two type of waste is generated out of that: solid waste like peels, skin, seeds, and stones like lychee stones. All right, like apple core. All right. So like orange peels. So these are all, or apple peels. These all are solid waste. Potato peels and liquid waste that include juices and wastewater. Again, the wastewater. If you are making juice, or it's a juice processing industry, orange processing industry making orange juice, you will get lot of liquid waste, juice and wastewater. So significant amount of tomato waste is also produced, you know, when you are, in a tomato processing industry. You know, I'm talking about tomato processing industry, significant amount of tomato waste is produced because peels are there, you know, the culled tomatoes are there, overripe tomatoes are there, underripe tomatoes are there. A lot of, you know, that type of solid and liquid waste we get from the tomato processing industry also. All right. So fruit and vegetable processing industry gives this type of waste. And how we're going to use that, we're going to study in the next lecture. So in the next lecture, when tons comes of the fruit and vegetable industries, waste utilization or waste management. Similarly, oil industry, if I talk about the oil industry, which is very fantastic, and this industry is also an important industry. The waste include from the oil processing industry is oil cakes, solvent, lecithin, which is a waste from degumming process while you are making the soap, which is waste from the neutralization. So these are the type of waste from the oil industry. And when I'm talking about oil processing industry, I think it is very important to tell you what is oil processing industry. Have you heard about this refined oil? This is, you know, produced in a oil industry. Have you heard about kachi ghani oil, which is nowadays becoming very popular? That is also comes under oil industry. And we are getting, you know, rice bran oil from solvent extraction of rice, that comes under oil industry. Vanaspati ghee comes under oil industry. So all these are oil processing industries, and we get the waste from this oil processing industries. And what type of waste I have already told you. How are we going to manage that? That going to comes in the, you know, next lectures, when industry wise we're going to study the waste management and the waste utilization. Now, since we are talking about the waste, and we are discussing about different type of waste, why we are doing it? As I told in my first lecture, to keep our surrounding neat, nice and clean, to keep our surrounding good, to keep ourselves away from diseases, and the most, to have a quality of life. So there is, some monitoring agencies are there, and they monitor all this stuff. And some acts are in place, and such type of acts is the Environment Protection Act. There is an act which protects the environment, all right? And when the Environment Act came in picture, it came in picture after the Bhopal gas tragedy. You know, Bhopal gas tragedy, all you remember. How does it happen? If not, then you go through and Google it. So that Environmental Protection Act came, in existence, and it was passed. Actually, it was passed in March 1986. And what it does actually, what are the objectives of Environmental Protection Act is providing the protection and improvement of the environment. It makes sure that the environment must be protected and it should be improved. And it also makes sure that environmental pollution must be prevented. And it tackles the specific environmental problems that are peculiar to different parts of the country. We have one such type of problem in our country. Parali burning problem is very major problem. And that creates a lot of problem in the NCR region. So that is something which the environmental agencies, they hammer on the governments to do something about that of Parali. There are other objectives also, and other responsibilities also of this Environment Act. And they appoint the environment officers to check environment pollutions. And most of the industries, they have to take pollution clearance certificates from these agencies and improve the quality of life by protection of environment. That is also one more objective. And they are equally responsible for protecting our forest and wildlife in the country. So that's what this Environmental Protection Act does, and it is in existence. So that was all about the different type of waste which we are getting from different type of industries And let me summarize it like this, that whatever is the food industry, mainly the waste can be categorized into two broad categories. First, solid waste, liquid waste. And that solid can be categorized further into degradable, biodegradable, and non-biodegradable. What type of waste? I told you. All right. So you study it. If there is any problem, you can ask. And at last, do the waste management, minimize the waste, and let's make our world a better place to live. That was all about today's lecture. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.